Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So I want to do a Q&A video. So first of all, thank you so much for all of your questions. As a reminder, if you do want to take part in these Q&A videos, then definitely go and join the Discord. That's where I ask for questions every single week. The server name is Appetite for the Dead. And yeah, so as always, definitely make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. Before we actually get into the Q&A, I did want to discuss something. So we actually do have the Steelbook Blu-ray release date for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. And it is coming out September 10th, which is sort of what we've already thought, but I figured that maybe it would come out the day before, or like maybe a couple of days later, a week later from like the UK release, but no, it seems like it is coming out September 10th. And yeah, this is the cover right here. We do see like the actual Steelbook here, which yeah, obviously this looks really, really nice here. Like I'm a big fan of this. I will say it's interesting that it does say season 1. And the reason why this is interesting is because like Daryl Dixon also says season 1. Yeah, I don't know. Like if this was just like a limited series, why would it say season 1? You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. This is an actual Steelbook like Blu-ray. Originally, when I did a video on this, I was like, well, it's because there's a poster, right? Like anyone could sort of put that on the poster, but we have this here, literally the Steelbook Blu-ray, and it says season 1 on it, right? And that's what I mean. So I don't know if this really hints at anything at all. I have no idea, but it's just very interesting that the official like Steelbook Blu-ray of The Ones Who Live, you know, it's not just titled The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, and like this is the series here. There's a bunch of episodes. Like this is just it. It literally has it as like season 1 on here. So like I guess maybe there's going to be more. There might be a season 2, right? Like it's interesting just because obviously everyone wants a season 2. So it's just yeah, I don't know. Like that's the thing with The Ones Who Live is it's there's no way you can 100% say no, The Ones Who Live is over and done. There will not be a season 2 because of what the cast has been saying, right? Like they haven't been hinting at a season 2 specifically, more of like a new story or like the next story, right? So maybe it ends up being a new series, which I guess, you know, I think a lot of us would be totally fine with. Like they don't have to have a Ones Who Live season 2. I just find it interesting. Like if you have this as The Ones Who Live season 1, if you are doing a next story and whatever, you might as well call it season 2. You might as well, you know, just sort of have it attached to this series already, right? And just have like a next story here, a part of this. So yeah, very, very interesting. We do actually have the next thing here of artwork, which to me, this is really incredible. So this poster looks really, really amazing. I don't know what it is about the coloring of it. Actually, yeah, now that I'm looking at it, this looks very different from what I actually have because I'm looking at the poster beside me because I have the poster here framed up in my room. And from what I see, the right side of the poster is very different. You have like this burnt thing of paper right here. It says season 1 AMC at the very bottom there. That's actually added on like officially. So that's what I mean. It's like, is there a possibility of a season 2? Like, it's just weird that if this was a limited series and this was just it, that when you're releasing your official Blu-ray of the series, you're going to call this season 1. So I'm really excited about Comic-Con because I just want to see, like, is there a potential for an announcement of a season 2? Like, again, maybe it doesn't come out for a couple of years, but could they at least just like announce it and just say, well, there's going to be a season 2, and then maybe we have to wait until like 2027 or something, right? But at least maybe just have the announcement out there. I don't know. Seeing the season 1 thing, though, obviously is very exciting. But on the top left here, you do see that it says includes collectible CRM patch. So very, very cool. Like that part right there is definitely a reason to get this as well. I mean, to get a collectible CRM patch, like, that's very, very cool, right? So I am going to be getting this here. I will be pre-ordering this. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'll do a whole like review and like, I guess, unboxing or whatever of this as soon as I get it. Obviously, it's going to be in like 2 months from now. And so, yeah, whenever I do get it, then I will actually do the whole breakdown review and I'll like get into the whole unboxing of all of it. And then other videos on it as well if there are deleted scenes, because there has to be deleted scenes. We've been seeing so much footage that we haven't seen from the show that it just, to me, like there has to be deleted scenes a part of this, right? So yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but this looks really incredible. And again, the season 1 thing, it's exciting, right? I don't know what it means, but it's better to have that there than not have it there, right? Like if it just said The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, there was no season 1, then I would be saying, okay, I guess this is just a limited series, but it says season 1, so who knows? Maybe we'll get a renewal at some point very soon, right? But let's get into the Q&A question here. So the first question: on the topic of a hypothetical animated Clementine spinoff, do you think Glenn would be a part of it considering that he was featured in the first game? If so, do you think this would take place before Glenn runs into what would eventually be Shane's group at the quarry? Well, first of all, I don't think Stephen Yeun would be a part of it. I also don't think they would ever do an animated Clementine spinoff because an animated Clementine spinoff, to me anyways, is kind of pointless just because the games were basically animated, right? Like you already have, just stylistically, you have that format out there. Like, yes, it's not completely like an animation or anything like that, but it's close, right? Like I think a live action Clementine spinoff is where you would go there. And I think that's really I'm actually going to do a video on the whole thing because I talked about this previously in a Q&A. Actually, someone asked me about Clementine, and afterwards I got a bunch of questions on like, well, why can't this happen and all that. So I'm going to get into the whole like rights issue with that and explain everything as to like, the chances of that happening. Because I think a live action Clementine spinoff, like it's not impossible. It isn't. Like it's not impossible at all. It really just comes down to rights issues and certain things. But I think we will get that at some point. Like, it just makes sense. Like, that's too perfect of a story to tell, right? Like, there's a lot of video games that have like a live action adaptation, right? And I think that the Clementine story, the Walking Dead Telltale games, it's perfect, especially for the Walking Dead. It's something that is completely separate from the story right now that people would be really excited about. Sort of why I want an original series as well. Like, if they're going to do another spin-off, just do an original series with all new characters, because people are gonna, just learn to love those characters, just like we did with Fear the Walking Dead, right? Like Fear the Walking Dead, the issue with that was, where the showrunners took the show eventually, but the first 3 seasons of that show were incredible, like really amazing. And I think that if you get showrunners like you have for Daryl Dixon, as well as, Dead City, or even like The Ones Who Live, and you have that quality there, like all new characters, like I think that would be really incredible. So to answer your question on like an animated spinoff, I just don't think it would ever happen. And so, I just don't see Glenn ever appearing. Even if they did a live action Clementine spinoff, I don't see Glenn appearing because I think the story is just too different. I think that's going to be something saved for just the games. Q&A, have you been watching The Boys Season 4? And if so, what do you think about this season so far? I have been watching The Boys Season 4. I don't know if I've been reviewing every single episode, but I have been watching it, and I have been enjoying it. I do think that they are building up to something, for the finale here, or the last like episode or two, because they announced that it was going to be getting a season 5, like pretty much right when the season started. And so to me, I think structurally, when they wrote the script for the entire season here, and obviously planning season 5 and like where they're going to go, I think a lot of season 4 is set up for season 5, which is kind of unfortunate in a way, because it makes watching this season feel, I don't want to say like pointless, but kind of boring in a way. There is going to be some stuff here, obviously, with the story that they will, there'll be payoffs and whatnot this season, but it does feel like they're setting up a lot of like Homelander's story and a lot of what, this final story is going to be in season 5. And I think that's probably what they're doing here. I think the finale is going to be a crazy cliffhanger. And then season 5 is just going to be, every episode is going to be really amazing because they're building up to the end. So yeah, season 4, I am enjoying it. There's been some really crazy moments and all of that, but I do think that in terms of the writing, they are just like ready for the end of the story already. So I think that's why season 4 feels like it does, at least for me personally. But I am enjoying the show. Like, I am a big fan of the show. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, actually, I guess I won't get into spoilers, but in terms of what they did with his character, I guess that makes sense, and I was kind of wondering if they were going in that direction, but I will say it is definitely very disappointing, and I wanted him to be a bigger part of the series, and it kind of seems like now maybe he won't be. But I guess if there's only going to be one more season after this, right, like season 5, then I guess it's fine, because, I mean, he wasn't really going to be a big part of that anyways, right? So, Q&A, now that Major General Beale is dead, and the CRM is no longer the big threat it was, how do you think the universe should conclude? In my opinion, we should get all the reunions between the characters, one last villain, one last big fight, and have some amazing moments like everybody did, I guess. In terms of how I see everything ending, I don't really see it ending in that way at all. I think that, yes, Major General Beale, he's not the big villain anymore, right? That, like, they killed him off. The CRM are no longer the threat that they were, so, that's not going to really necessarily be a thing anymore. There could still be some parts to it, because there are, like, Beale spies out there, and there's other elements of the story that could be out there for sure. In terms of the reunions and all of that, like, I don't know what the final villain's going to be, or how they're going to do that in some way, but I don't think it's going to be like an Avengers Endgame style event, in the sense that you have everybody lining up and like running towards like the villain or something like that. Like, it's not going to be anything like that, I don't think. It's just going to be something where maybe there's variant walkers everywhere, everyone's trying to survive, there's a bunch of stuff that happened, and then maybe everybody reunites, like similar to the season 4 finale where everyone reunited in like that crate, right, where they just all like ran into each other and it was like, oh wow, like they're all together here. And then Rick had that amazing line, right? I think it's going to be something like that, and then they sort of deal with like the villain, and again, it could be like variant walkers or it could be something whatever, but I don't think it's going to be like this crazy final battle, like this war and all that. Maybe it builds up to that throughout the season and all that, but that's kind of the way I've always viewed it. Like, I've never really believed in the CRM versus the Commonwealth. Like, I've talked about it, sure, but I never believed that was ever going to be a thing because the Commonwealth don't have a military really at all compared to the CRM, right? Like, they don't have helicopters, they don't have anything that the CRM has. So like, it was never going to work. And that was actually one thing I talked about a lot before The Ones Who Live actually even aired, was that the CRM and the Commonwealth, if anything, would probably team up together and would face like Madame Genet and like the variant walkers and all that. Like, there's going to be another threat out there. There's going to be something else that happens that ends up bringing all of our characters together. And I don't know exactly what it is yet, but obviously Gimple is working towards that. So yeah, but I'm going to leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.